Hi, I'm Queen Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah.
Are you tired of driving around a dirty car? Say hello to the ultimate solution for your car. Quick Auto Detail, home, work, or wherever. Their mobile car spa will clean and shine your car anytime and anywhere. Their products are gentle on your car's paint, and they use only the highest quality materials. Book your appointment now.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Hey, it is Smooth Tim, and thank you so very, very, very much for dropping by and spending another hump day with me on Tim's Tidbits, again, in another new year. This is the first episode of 2025. So as we say goodbye to 2025 and hello to 20, or goodbye to 2024, rather, and hello to 2025. Hang on, people, it's going to be an interesting roller coaster ride. Hey, but before we segue into the show, I just would like to let you know that my hearts and prayers, thoughts are out to the people of Los Angeles. I mean, there's some serious, devastating wildfires out there, destroying all kinds of property, natural resources, nature. I believe only 2 people have been reported killed in the fires, and several obviously injured. But hey, thoughts and prayers out to you. I mean, there's 60, 70 mile an hour Santa Ana winds coming in there, and firemen just can't get a control of it. So, hey, hopefully things will mild down just a tad bit so the people in the emergency response can get their jobs done and keep you all safe. Anyhow, quickly, shout-outs for last week's show in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Poland, Ireland, Africa, France, Australia. Hey, appreciate you guys tuning in to last year's show. Anyhow, hey, you know, it's going to be a real interesting ride here coming up, 2025. Biden has signed quite a few bills, apparently, that have irritated Trump on his way in. He signed the whole bunch of stuff to pardon people, except some death row inmates that were guilty of, crimes against the masses, terrorism type things. They're not, he wasn't going to give them immunity from execution, but like 120 people or something. Yeah, he stayed their execution. They'll just have to do life in prison now. So it's not like they're getting away with a whole lot of shit. Would you live your entire life in prison, or maybe die something? Who knows? That's subjective view, isn't it? But anyhow, again, Trump's going to be coming into office here on January 20th. He'll be officially sworn into office. In the meantime, though, he'll be in New York because on the 10th, he has to face the judge on his hush money trial and that cover-up where he made those payments to Stormy Daniels. What is it, 34 counts against him, so he's going to have to get sentenced, and that's on the 10th. Going to be a busy guy for a minute, but that's on the 10th. Yeah, he goes in and he gets sentenced for that. Of course, the judge said he's not going to give him any jail time. He's not going to put him on probation, and I think it's just like a formality type thing. Well, you're found guilty because of your peers found you guilty of this stuff, and now I have to pass sentence, so it may just be, a little shame on you type thing, but got to be done. Anyhow, yeah. So in the interim, Donald has been on Truth Social and some other networks talking about his intentions when he comes into office on the 20th, when he's done with all the other stuff that is going to get in his way. But he had an agenda, and part of the agenda was he thought it was time for the United States to get the Panama Canal back, that it should be ours and acquired by whatever means may be necessary, and also possibly maybe Canada should become our 52nd state. Is Puerto Rico counted as a state right now? I don't know how they got that down, but yeah, sorry. It's kind of like, I told you last year, to last broadcast, we had just found out that the bald eagle was never officially the bird of the United States. Even though it's on all our coins, it's on all our money. It had never actually been officially documented as our official national bird, but now it is. So in any regards, let's get back to Donald and his insatiable appetite for power and see what he has planned for Panama as well as maybe Canada.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't.
Points, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. They make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, What would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. We will acquire Canada. They will become our 51st state. I don't know why we have. I thought Puerto Rico was part of the United States. I'm confused. But anyhow, then Panama and and Greenland. So hey, we may acquire quite a few more states under President Trump than we had before he did take office. Hey, I told you, I almost forgot that, this part of the show is actually called, hey, grab your popcorn when we talk about what's going on with Washington, D.C. and around the globe. And we're continuing. Also, Trump made an announcement during that same speech, question and answer, I guess, from press. What would be some other ideas that he may have to benefit the peoples of the United States and make it even a more sparkly and shining society for everyone?
Can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers, record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but they have to. It takes two to tango. We're approaching.
The Gulf of America. Yeah, I told you. Hang on, it's going to even get more interesting. Yeah, we'll see how that. What's that going to do to all the history books and Rand McNally's and even your GPS system? Take me to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm sorry, that no longer exists. Hey, whatever. Also, I told you a little bit before that he's miffed because he's got so much going on. January 10th, having to go in and get sentenced for being a bad boy and paying off a porn star. But also, he is really super miffed that President Carter died, and in respect and as in accordance to an observation has been forever and ever, for 30 days when you have a president that passes, they lower the flags to half-mast for 30 days. Well, if you count forward, part of that 30 days would be inclusive of when Trump gets inaugurated. And he thinks it looks really, really, really bad that, the country would be in mourning. That the country would be in a display of mourning for President Carter, but it may be, a subjective view or, a viewpoint of others that the country's in mourning that he's being sworn in, which could be possibly true, Don.
Now, President Joe Biden's decision to have U.S. flags fly at half-staff to honor the late President Jimmy Carter has sparked a strong reaction from President-elect Donald Trump. As Trump prepares to take office later this month, he has expressed his dissatisfaction with the timing of the flag protocol as it coincides with his inauguration on January 20th. In a social media post, Trump stated that no American can be happy about flags being at half-mast, especially during such a major event. He also accused Democrats of being pleased with the somber optics, seeing it as an image of mourning just as he was about to return to the White House. Now, Trump believes that this creates an unsettling image of a nation in grief as he stands on the Capitol steps to take the oath, marking a dramatic comeback after the turbulent first term. President Joe Biden ordered U.S. flags to be lowered for a customary 30 days on federal buildings and grounds in honor of late President Jimmy Carter, who died recently at the age of 100. Now, this action was taken in line with the U.S. flag code, which mandates the flag to be lowered for 30 days following the death of a current or former president. Flags will remain lowered until January 28th, marking a period of mourning for the nation. While the flag order is typically not adjustable, it can be overridden by the president once they are in office.
Wait, that's crazy. I can see. Hey, wait, I got this all lined up. Okay, here we go. And that miffs him because we respect, our presidents, and by lowering the flag and showing respect for 30 days for the services that they provided to our country, good and or bad, depending upon your opinion, right? But, yeah. Anyhow, I could see back to the thought that, he could probably, at the moment he comes into office, is get them flags up, boys, and make it look like a celebration. Just, yeah, totally disrespecting Carter, disrespecting tradition, and flag protocol. That shouldn't surprise you. But anyhow, hey, you know that the Trump transition team is just, stacked and packed with billionaires, with Elon Musk and Bezos and, and Zuckerberg, who helped, finance Trump into his campaign, throwing money. A billionaire that's throwing money to billionaires. I wonder why. Almost, yeah. Kind of like, I guess, hey, some people, give to the church, Elon and Zuckerberg, and some of these give to their Royal Highness Sir Donald, or whatever he's referred to him as. But anyhow, let's get to what Zuckerberg has done, as he has decided that it is now time to fact checking. You heard me. It is time to fact checking on Meta. So, there's this too much fact checking and takes a little bit too much time. And sometimes they don't get it right. So, sounds like, it just feeds into the misinformation that, the Trump team likes to, propagate. Like 4 years ago on January 6th, it was just simply a ordinary day of everybody having a beautiful visit at the Senate. Hey, come on now. Let's listen to how Zuckerberg's buckling under now. And hey, if you get fed misinformation, it's the gang in D.C.
It's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Meta Platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg said on Tuesday his company will end its U.S. fact-checking program and replace it with a user-driven system similar to Community Notes on Elon Musk's X platform. Zuckerberg also said Meta will reduce the curbs on discussions around contentious topics, such as immigration and gender identity.
We've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
The move marks a reversal in Meta's policy, as Zuckerberg has long championed active content moderation, despite criticism from conservatives over alleged censorship on its platform. It also comes shortly after the company named Republican policy executive Joel Kaplan as global affairs head, and elected Dana White, CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship and a close friend of President-elect Donald Trump, to its board.
We're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
Some of Meta's fact-checking partners were surprised by the policy change, while others, including Reuters, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's X has come under fire for loosening its content moderation rules. The European Commission is investigating X over dissemination of illegal content in the EU and the effectiveness of measures taken to combat information manipulation, including the Community Notes system. For its part, Meta says it has no immediate plan to end third-party fact-checking in the EU.
So there you go. Yeah, we maybe get fed misinformation, but they're not going to let it happen in Europe. So who knows? It's interesting now. So you've got, some of the biggest platforms that we use between, Musk with X and, Trump on his, what is that, social media platform he's on. And, Elon Musk with, what he's doing. So, hey, good luck getting good information, folks. Good luck getting good information. And speaking of things happening, and, I don't know if you recently heard, but, that there's all kinds of cyber attacks coming down, and people having to pay out, millions, actually, to get their systems back up and in order. In fact, it just happened recently down around in towards where we live. A county had to pay out $1.5 million to get their system unhacked and back in order so that they were able to operate again. And can you believe that these people are getting so bold that they are even attacking our U.S. Treasury?
Of course, that will be determined by the investigative agencies, all the intelligence agencies, the FBI and others that are now working on this. But this is being described as a major incident. And according to the Treasury Department, like you said, it was earlier this month, they're now saying it was December the 8th that they learned that what the U.S. government is calling a state-run or state-activated China hacking operation was able to get access to a key from this third-party vendor, use that key to then override the system and then gain remote access to workstations, to documents that the Treasury Department says were unclassified. So there are generally protocols that are put into place when this happens. The Biden administration, the Treasury Department, will notify lawmakers. They've done that, and they do so by letter. This is the letter in which that they have instructed lawmakers as to what they know about this so far. And I'll read one quick quote. They said the hackers gained access to a key used by the vendor to secure a cloud-based service used to remotely provide technical support for Treasury Department offices and end users.
Okie dokie, then, yeah. So, yeah, up on the cloud, basically the key would be the password. Hacks them, letting them in to get all the data that they need on you, and I appreciate you guys and the security measures that you take to protect our monies. And now with the U.S. Treasury even getting hacked. Seems like sometimes they have a hard time taking care of anybody. And speaking of not being able to take care of anybody, sometimes we see a lot in the news about the homeless. And the homeless may be, in Los Angeles, gets a lot of attention, New York City. But when you start thinking about the state of Rhode Island, do you think, we always think that is a very picturesque, state. That how would there ever be, negligence, to the homeless? How could they not have their stuff together? You got Providence and other major cities, but apparently they have some serious issues.
Well, the governor tells me on my radio show on WPRO that there's a surplus of beds in one homeless shelter. The advocates question the accuracy of that assessment. He also will not order the emergency opening of the Pallet Shelter Village because it's not ready.
Tonight, NBC 10 is getting disappointing news from the annual count of people living on the street. NBC 10's Gabrielle Caracciolo is live in Providence with bad news for the homeless in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island has the second highest rate of chronic homelessness in the entire country. Despite the state spending millions of dollars to address the problem, advocates say more needs to be done.
Shelters are expensive. It's expensive when people who are living outside wind up in emergency rooms, which they do quite often.
An expensive problem on the rise. The number of people experiencing homelessness in the Ocean State is up nearly 35%.
The system is broken, and we need to fix it.
NBC 10 was there as outreach workers participated in the nationwide point-in-time count last winter. In Rhode Island, there were 2,442 people without a home. For 48% of those people, homelessness has been a chronic issue.
Rhode Island has the second highest rate for chronic homelessness in the country. Why do you think that is?
Our whole system of ending homelessness depends on having units, apartments to put people in, and we don't have very many at all. Emergency shelters are not for permanent housing, but ours are bottled up, and people have been living in them for years and years, sometimes 10 years.
Eric Hirsch runs the Rhode Island committee in charge of collecting and reporting this data.
Is the state not doing enough, or is what they are spending money on not being properly utilized? Kind of what's the issue?
The big issue is we need a declaration of a public health emergency right now. It's the lack of a sense of urgency that is most concerning to us, because people can wind up dead. I don't think anybody thinks there should be a death penalty if you're homeless, but that's what we're looking at right now.
Now, the latest estimates say there are about 650 people living outside in the Ocean State tonight. That's up about 100 people from this time last year. The Department of Housing says these numbers underscore the importance of the issue, saying that the root cause is the lack of affordable housing, something they're spending millions of dollars to address.
That's kind of an interesting little segment when they talk about a lack of housing, and they have people that's been in the system, and some people living in these homes for 10 years. And I would think you would have some type of a period that you're going to be able to live in this house so long. And we're going to get you into some type of life skills class, whether we teach you how to do something and or the other so that you can actually have a profession and not necessarily be, thinking that it's always the responsibility of the government to completely take care of you. Sometimes we have to take care of ourselves, people, and, not always rely on others to always fulfill all of our needs when we are quite capable at times. To do for ourselves as well as contribute to helping others. It's interesting how it all works if we all work together. Anyhow, hey, as you know, as many of us know, multiple states in the United States now, Colorado, California, Washington, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio, I think Florida, anyhow. Now it's legal to grow, possess, and partake of cannabis products. And but it is also, keep in mind, illegal to consume and drive or be under the influence of cannabis and be pulled over by a law enforcement official. So having that in mind, I thought I would share this little video with you so you would know how to handle it should you ever be pulled over while buzzed by a law enforcement official. Check it out.
This car has been stopped for quite some time. I'm going to check it out. Excuse me, have you been smoking any pot today?
No.
Well, you've been stopped here for 15 minutes. Can you tell me why that is?
We're waiting for the stop sign to turn green.
How high are you?
Hi, how are you?
No, I said, how high are you?
Hi, how are you? This cop is so friendly, Dave.
Okay, I am going to have to conduct a pot sobriety test.
Oh, man, I'm too high for that.
Blow into this?
Hey, is that a breathalyzer?
No. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a few questions to determine your ability to drive. Why is a pizza box square when the pizza's a circle and all the little slices are tiny triangles? Which of these two snacks would you prefer? Chips or the cookie dough? Step out of the car, please. Let's go.
Please, don't drive high. We're getting cookie dough all over the back of our cruisers. A message from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
There, I hope that helps you out. How to properly conduct yourself should you be pulled over for a weed sobriety test. Anyhow, hey, let's move on to what's going on around the world. And, as we've talked about last year and still going on, there's still things happening with Ukraine and Russia. Let us not forget, with all the stuff that's happening here in the good old US of A. And it'll be an interesting thing to see what happens after January 20th. So I think having that in mind, rather, Ukraine is going a little bit on the offensive to keep ahead of the January 20th inauguration date. And if you think about it, as if they take a little bit of part of Russia in their possession, as what happened to them on to their east side, they could use that as a bargaining chip to say, okay, well, we'll pull out of there if we can, make a peaceful end to this war, perhaps. Who knows? But anyhow, just to keep you up to speed with, Ukraine is still on the offensive, trying to drive into Russia, and they're getting a little bit of resistance, but check this out.
Overseas now, Ukraine appears to be going on the offensive against Russia, attempting to seize more territory inside the Kursk region of the country, the same area where Ukraine mounted a major offensive in August. What's behind the sudden move? Details now from ABC's Patrick Reevell.
Tonight, Ukrainian forces suddenly on the offensive once again inside Russia. Ukrainian tanks seen advancing into the Russian border region of Kursk, filmed from a Russian drone closing in. Russian state media showing Russian troops directing fire onto Ukrainian columns as they attack. Ukraine seized a foothold in Kursk with a surprise offensive back in August, capturing hundreds of square miles of Russian territory. But since then, Russia has slowly driven Ukraine back, recently also helped by thousands of North Korean troops. Ukraine's move comes as it tries to strengthen its hand for expected peace negotiations once President-elect Donald Trump enters office, just over 2 weeks from today.
President Trump does want to end the war, have a peaceful negotiation. We're all for that, but it's got to be on terms that do not throw Ukraine under the bus.
It's still unclear how significant this offensive is, but it appears that Ukraine may be trying to shore up its hold on Russian territory in order to use it as a bargaining chip in any talks after President Trump's inauguration. Lindsay.
Patrick, thank you.
Interesting, right? So, yeah, I would look at it as they are probably doing it as part of a bargaining chip and saying, hey, we let you get away with taking, 10 years ago or so, our East Coast, and no, you're not going to be taking any more territory, and let's just end this thing. So, see how it goes. Who knows? Anyhow, let us not forget also what's going on in North Korea, as North Korea always loves to, Kim Jong-un loves to always flex their muscles. And how's he flexing his muscles this week? Actually, yeah, this week. Check it out.
North Korea on Monday claimed it successfully launched a new hypersonic ballistic missile. According to the state media on Tuesday, the missile flew 932 miles at 12 times the speed of sound, reaching as high as 62 miles before hitting its target. The missile launch comes less than 2 weeks before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump returns to office. This is North Korea's first missile launch since U.S. Election Day last November. KCNA released photos of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un monitoring the launch with his daughter. Their report also said that the missile's engine section used carbon fiber, which is lighter and harder than other materials used in aerospace, but harder to make. They said the missile is able to, quote, effectively penetrate any dense defense barrier and inflict a serious military blow on the opponent. Kim called the missile a strong weapon against enemy threats and the changing regional environment. South Korea and the US condemned the launch. The South's acting president called the launch a serious threat to regional and global security. Seoul's military called the North's claims exaggerated, saying it did not fly as far as the North claimed. It also coincided with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to South Korea, who warned of Pyongyang's deepening ties with Moscow, including illicit cooperation on space and satellite technology. North Korea has been developing a new solid-fuel IRBM, part of a wider race to develop the next generation of long-range rockets that are difficult to track and intercept.
Yeah, so it should be real interesting. Yeah, because definitely Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, Russia, they are definitely collaborating with each other. And hey, you never know if China decides to jump in the mix, especially if Don decides to start taking over the world. Panama Canal, Greenland, Canada. Who knows where, you could drive those three together and really create some issues. So keep an eye on all this. Let's move on to another part of the show that I enjoy, and it is called Hey Dude. Seriously? What the fuck? And I got 2 of them this week. And let me jump on down to that. The first actually comes up from 2 individuals who took obviously the super cheap seats on JetBlue.
But we begin this morning with that disturbing discovery at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida. JetBlue has confirmed that the bodies of 2 people were found inside the landing gear of a plane last night. The airline says they were found during a routine post-flight inspection of a plane that ultimately landed at New York JFK Airport after making stops in Salt Lake City and Kingston, Jamaica. CBS News Miami reporter Morgan Reiner has the latest from Fort Lauderdale.
That's right. JetBlue confirmed for us that during one of their routine post-flight inspections, they did find 2 people in the landing gear compartment of one of their flights. Unfortunately, both of those people were dead. At this hour, we do not know their identities. We don't know how they got through security and into the landing gear to begin with. We do know that the flight came from JFK in New York, which is about a 3-hour flight time. JetBlue added that this is a heartbreaking situation, that they are committed to working closely with law enforcement to figure out exactly what happened here. You know, for hours overnight at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, passengers, people arriving here at the airport did see a medical examiner, a crime scene van, several Broward County Sheriff's Office deputies. You can see behind me now, operations are back to normal here at the airport. It's been very busy all morning long. Of course, we will let you know as soon as we get any more information about this deadly investigation. Back to you.
Is that crazy? Wait. What happened? I don't know. You know, these seats usually work out for people. I mean, that's they in landing gear. So you know that's going to be freezing up there, and especially at the altitude in which jets fly. Yeah, well, first off, you're probably going to freeze to death. Besides the other issues, you know, that you could sustain injuries from. That's just craziness. But speaking of craziness and somebody sustaining injuries, what do you think of a guy that would just decide? Maybe he didn't decide to do it. Check this out.
Tonight, police say a man shot himself in the face after shopping at a West Side H-E-B. KENS 5's Ronnie Accor arrived on the scene minutes after it happened.
Police tell me the man was 22 years old and he just left the H-E-B where he was shopping with his mom. Police say the man was loading groceries inside the car around 11:30 this morning when a gun went off, hitting him in the face. His mom was already seated in the car at the H-E-B on Culebra when it happened. It's not clear if the man was carrying the gun or if it was inside the vehicle. What we do know is there was just one shot and police believe the man fired it himself. But the investigation into that is ongoing. Police and emergency personnel raced to the scene. The man was loaded into an ambulance and rushed to the hospital. Now, the man's injuries are described as non-life-threatening. No one else was hurt. On the west side, Ronnie Accor, KENS 5.
Just rearranging the trunk, get this gun here out of the way, and blam! Shoot yourself in the frickin' face. Anyhow, yeah. So, hey, as a lesson, people, don't take the super cheap seats on JetBlue. And also, rearrange your trunk and get rid of the gun in the trunk before you load your groceries. Anyhow, hey, let's get to another part of the show that is probably one of the most requested, actually, and that would be, who is our asshole of the week? And actually, we have 2 candidates for this, and the first candidate goes to a fraternity, actually. That's right, a fraternity who thought it would be really funny to use one of the internet dating apps, you know, like a Tinder, whatever, to carry out their prank. Check this out. This is really not so funny.
In Worcester, Massachusetts, authorities arrested 6 college students who they say lured a man to campus using a dating app, where he was then chased down by a group of 25 people, assaulted, and falsely accused of being a sexual offender. The ploy, police say, inspired by a social media fad that they say may be based on the former NBC TV series To Catch a Predator.
You see it on social media all the time, but you would never expect it to happen, right next to you, right in your own school.
It happened at Assumption University, where in court documents, police say a man was invited to campus by an 18-year-old student who used her real profile on the dating app Tinder. Authorities say when he arrived, the man, whose family says is 22, said he and his alleged date were watching a baseball game in the student lounge when the mob appeared and began calling him a pedophile and accusing him of liking sex with 17-year-old girls. The man told police the group chased him to his car, where they punched him in the head and slammed his car door on him. He got away and called police, who say surveillance video shows the group of students, many of whom were filming the incident on their phones, laughing and high-fiving with each other. In a statement, the Catholic University calling the behavior abhorrent and that they have launched an immediate and thorough investigation. But the incident not isolated. 11 teenagers in Mount Prospect, Illinois have also been charged after police say last year 2 men were allegedly lured and beaten after arranging to meet up with a person using a dating app. Authorities saying some of the teens got the idea through a viral social media trend they saw online.
And now at Assumption University, charges against the students range from kidnapping to intimidation and assault and battery with a deadly weapon. They are set to be arraigned later this month.
See, that's just ridiculous. And the guy's 22, the girl is at least 18. She's a college student, 17, 18, 4 years difference, and they're going to do that. And be careful out there, folks. There's all kinds of nutcases. They may not be up in a tower shooting at everybody down into a concert event. They may not be planting a bomb somewhere. But you know what else? This asshole of the week is doing something that is just as bad, and I guess you could consider it to be a terroristic act, depending upon, I guess, how they end up, if they do, catch this guy and charging him.
Mayhem on the streets. A frustrated driver in a white Mercedes plows through a crowd of more than 100 cyclists swarming an LA street. The bike riders swerve right and left to avoid being mowed down. The driver weaves around them, narrowly missing one after another. Look how close he is to taking out this guy popping a wheelie.
Hey, move! Hey, watch out!
A motorbike rider behind them shouts frantic warnings.
Watch out! Watch out!
The crazy scenes go on for nearly a mile as the speeding driver swerves into the oncoming lane and back again.
Hey, watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
Terrified cyclists pull over to the right and let him pass.
This is nuts. The footage is absolutely nuts. To be clear, both sides are doing something illegal. I mean, the cyclists were not in the right in terms of how they were taking the lane, but what that driver was doing was clearly endangering lives.
The LAPD is saying right now that there are no arrests or charges filed just yet.
And how does that not halfway mimic what happened in New Orleans just the other day? As the gentleman, and the ladies and gentlemen that were ran over, young kids. It wouldn't be young kids. It happened at 3:15 in the morning. But still, young people that were, ran over by this moron, and he was driving the vehicle. You have this guy upset with, apparently, they had some type of biking event. Get a grip, people. Get a freaking grip. Life is too short to be, acting out in vengeance or in anger like that. And trust me, anybody would have gotten hurt, you would have been living in regret for the rest of your life. And you may still be if they catch up with you and charge you, as I said, anyway, even an act of terrorism, like doing something like that. You induced that type of panic into that many people. See how that all plays out. But in any regards, hey, we are out of here, so I'll leave you with just a little thought of, hey, it's a lot easier to pick up a person than it is to knock them down. Reach out that hand and help somebody. Don't hurt somebody. And I guess until next week, people, we are so out of here. Again, I appreciate you tuning into the show, and peace.
Nothing says loving like my chocolate chip cookies.
Here you go, gang.
Wow! Cookie!
Who put this back empty?
I didn't drink it.
Cookies?
Did you drink it?
Who? Me? Oh, no.